I'm going to talk about a death metal album that is celebrating an anniversary. The album is Leprosy by Death. This is one of my all-time favorite death metal albums. This album has one specific song that got me into death metal. In other words, this album and the song in particular was my gateway into this type of extreme music. Because before that I was more into traditional heavy metal and thrash, maybe a little bit of glam. I'm going to be going through a lot of history with the album, the people involved in it. Then I'll do the track-by-track analysis, so let's get into it. This is their second studio album. It was released on November 16th, 1988 through Combat Records. This album is considered a landmark in the genre. It showcases the band's evolution from the raw and thrashy debut Scream Bloody Gore to a more refined and technical sound. This album also features the first example of Scott Burns' production work that would become influential for many death metal and grindcore albums of that era. The album's lyrics deal with themes such as death, disease, and social issues. The cover art depicts a leper surrounded by severed limbs. This was created by Ed Repka. He was a famous illustrator for metal bands. Check out some of these other covers illustrated by Ed Repka. I'm showing them right here. So this album received positive reviews from critics and fans. It's regarded as one of the best albums by Death. The album was reissued in 2014 by Relapse Records. It had some bonus tracks and a remastered sound. The band changed members throughout the career, so let's talk about who was on this album. Chuck Schuldiner was on lead vocals and guitar. He was the founding member of the band Death, and as well as Control Denied. He is considered the father of death metal. Although he said he was not comfortable with that nickname, he also died due to complications from a brain tumor in 2001. Rick Rozz played guitar. He's known for his work with the bands Death and Massacre. He was one of the founding members of Mantas. That band would later become Death. And he started Death with Chuck as well. He was part of Massacre, and they were another pioneering death metal band. I actually listened to their first album today. They're kind of like a death thrash type of sound. Very good. And that band Massacre had a few albums, From Beyond, Inhuman Condition, and Promise. And he's actually currently still active with Massacre and another band called The End and a few other projects. We have Terry Butler. He's the bass player. And he was credited as the bass player, but the bass parts were recorded by Chuck. He plays bass with death metal band Obituary and another band called Inhuman Condition. And he also played with 6 Feet Under a while back, and he was with Massacre. Then on drums, we have Bill Andrews. He's best known for his work with Death and Massacre. He joined in 1987 with Chuck, right after Chuck moved to Florida. He played drums on Leprosy and Spiritual Healings, and those are considered classics of the genre. Andrews contributed to the writing on some songs such as Pull the Plug and Open Casket. His drumming style is fast and powerful. His influences are thrash metal and hardcore punk. He left Death in 1990 and he formed a Massacre with Rick Rozz. Let's go track by track now. The opening track is Leprosy, the title track. Here you get a taste of what this album will be about. Includes some sick screams and fast and technical guitar riffs. One thing that's apparent with all the songs in this album is the tempo changes in almost all the songs. All instruments play a major role in the songs. The riffs change every few seconds, so you never get bored listening to the songs. The lyrics are very descriptive. They talk about what happens to the body when you get leprosy and the kind of topic that's fitting for a death metal band. Born Dead is next. The song has a heavy bass guitar sound. It's one of the driving rhythm. It continues with the pace of the album with many tempo changes and blast beats. My understanding of the lyrics is that it's about children born into extreme poverty who die of starvation. Forgotten Past has a chugging sound, which seems like it has its roots in thrash metal. song has different changes as with most of the other songs. This one tends to have a few slower parts. I thought this was a good song and had some of that tremolo picking that's common with this genre. Left to Die is a cool song, a lot of guitar acrobatics on here, and some are heavy, and there's also some melodic guitar riffs. Lots of sick screams, lots of harsh vocals. My understanding of the lyrics that it describes the situation as being in the middle of a war, you're watching people die, knowing that you will eventually be next. It's a great song, shows off a lot of cool lead guitar work. Now for the song that got me into death metal, and it is Pull the Plug. You might be surprised to know I only started listening to this genre about maybe 7 years ago. When I was younger, I listened to a lot of glam metal, heavy metal, and thrash, but this music, death metal, didn't really appeal to me. It wasn't until I was older that I discovered this song, and it was one of the greatest songs ever. This sold me on the death metal genre the same way that Master of Puppets made me a metalhead 30 years prior. There's so much going on here with the intricate guitar riffs. The lyrics are very dark. They come from the mind of someone on life support who no longer wants to live in this state, neither being alive or being dead. Thoughts of someone in a vegetative state. Very dark. It's a great song.
For you, this is called Open Casket!
Open Casket. It's another song that describes being at a funeral, looking at the dead body, wondering what is the meaning of death. It's another great song with some heavy blast beats. The song is filled with heavy and complex guitar riffs. The drumming stands out on this song as well. Primitive Waves is another heavy death metal song. The lyrics describe a civilization that practices cannibalism, or that was my understanding of it. The song is a fast driving rhythm, the guitar riffs are heavy, and the drumming is intense.
Choke on it!
Choke on It is the final song. I thought the song was a foreshadowing of what the band would evolve into, with more of a progressive sound that the band would explore on subsequent albums. It's still an old school death metal song. There are just some slower parts that makes the song stand out, as well as the use of harmonized guitars. It's a great song, maybe my second favorite after Pull the Plug. The song's about a person who is tortured to death by being exposed to extremely hot air. This causes them to suffocate and burn from the inside. The song is one of the last gore-themed songs by Death, as they later shifted to more philosophical and social topics. The song reflects the band's evolution from their raw and thrashy debut to a more refined and technical sound. The chorus repeats the phrase, choke on it, which is a double entendre, meaning both to suffocate in hot air and to suffer the consequences of one's actions. The song also features the guitar solo by Chuck. It's really great. The song is considered a classic of death metal and has been performed live by the band on several occasions. So that's all. Let me know in the comments what you think of this album. What was your first death metal album? What was the song that got you into death metal? Let's start a conversation in the comment section. Check out this video right here. It's the anniversary review of the first Death album called Scream Bloody Gore. Please like this video. It helps me with the YouTube algorithm. Please subscribe if you haven't already. I do rock and metal reviews, rankings, new releases, classic album reviews, and I will see you in the next one.